I really seriously do not think that anyone that hasn't scaled an agency before realizes just how easy it actually is to scale an agency. I mean that genuinely. I'm not trying to be any kind of way. Scaling an SMMA is easy. Obviously coming from someone who's, done multiple 75K months, but the hard part that people don't realize is it's not like it's easy to scale. Building a system that works and that can scale is the hard part. The reality of scaling is like you can just double your ad budget or double the amount of cold outreach you're doing. Like it's really easy to tell your VA to double their hours or to type 40 instead of 20 into your Facebook ad manager for scaling your ads. So I'm going to clickbait you here. And instead of just yelling at you about, oh, scaling an agency is easy and making you feel bad about yourself for 10 minutes, I'm going to talk to you about how to build a system that can even scale in the first place and how I got to 75K a month myself step by step. So there are a few things that are involved in order to easily scale, right? What matters are the fundamentals. And what matters really, really like at the bottom of all of this, at the core of all of this, is who you're selling to in the first place. Like, do they have money? Do they not have money? Right? That's one question. So, do they have money or do they not? Another thing to look at is how easy can we get them results? How reliably can we get them results? Now, you might be thinking, oh, these are obvious questions, well, but the amount of people that look over the obvious stuff is ridiculous. Like, really. So, pay attention to these things. If you're not selling to the right person, you're literally screwing yourself from day one. Like, imagine how much easier it would be to get to 100K a month if you're selling something that was $20,000 to $50,000 and they just had a boatload of money. All you have to do is sell 2 or 3 clients, maybe 5 clients. You don't have to sell $1,200,000 a month packages, right? So this is really, really seriously important. And, if we can get them results reliably, then you'll get referrals. And referrals are like the easiest way to scale, the absolute easiest way to scale. So we want to be getting somebody results ideally easily, quickly, which is going to be another thing here, but then also reliably, long term, right? These things here are going to get you referrals. This here is going to get you a higher amount of money up front. A lot of people are wrong about who they think has money. And one of the best things that you can do is you can niche down. You can sell to the top 5% of your entire marketplace. So really do keep this in mind because you can just sell significantly higher priced packages and you don't have to do nearly as much work. Imagine 10 grand a month was as simple as selling a $10,000 product once. Imagine 10 grand a month when you're selling a $500 a month to month retainer. It's like in month one, you have to sell 20 people just to hit 10K, and then churn kicks in on month two. So what is it that we can sell these people, right? So that's where the next thing comes into play. And that's in part here, how quickly, how easily can we get the results for who, but what can we sell them and how can we deliver it? So some of the things that we'll want to look at here is like, are we selling a monthly retainer? Are we selling some kind of like build out, like a done with you kind of thing where, some people will, I had done this in the past where I had sold like for a few $1,000s, I would sell like, I'll set up your ads for you, launch them and hand them over to you. I'd mentioned in another video, doing a build out and then offering to hire virtual assistants as well. So think about this. What are you doing? If you're doing a build out, then you can sell these higher ticket packages, right? Thousands of dollars that you can get paid up front, and sometimes tens of thousands of dollars that you can get paid up front. And ideally, we can systemize this as well as possible. So, or systematize. So what does this mean? People say systems this, that. There's the obvious, like, you know, building a system, as people say, but what goes into systematizing something is minimizing the total amount of variables that change between clients. So, for example, if you're running Facebook ads, you want to have a bank of ads that you can use for all of your clients. And ideally, we want to also reduce, I've talked about this before, but reduce operational complexity. And what I mean here is, not doing, I mentioned here, minimize the total amount of variables that can change between clients. So ideally, in this case, if we're doing Facebook ads for somebody, then we want to be able to run the same ads for them all, more or less, right? Here, what we want to do to reduce operational complexity is we don't want to have to make seasonal ads. Or let's say like, monthly ads, meaning ads that reference that it's March right now. March only special. It's like, well, great. Now in April, you have to restart from scratch and do an April only special. So it's easier to run an ad that's going to last a longer period of time that doesn't force you or wedge you into this corner where now you have to constantly be creating and constantly be creating. This makes things easier to scale, but not only does it do that, it makes the reliability of your results go way up. Now, if you're doing some kind of build out, then it's like, at this point, you're just printing money and producing the same thing again and again and again. So really what we want to do is productize. You'll hear this word. What productize means is when you sell something to somebody, there's just a little system, a few things that take place, and then they're serviced onto the next. So that you're not getting bogged down with a ridiculous amount of work. That's where some people do some of their build-outs. With a monthly retainer, this stuff is all true as well. Whether you're doing a build-out, whether you're doing a monthly retainer, whether you're doing some kind of like pay up front for, X amount of months of a retainer, however you're doing it, whatever you're selling, these things are incredibly important. But now what we want to step into is like, okay, we know who we're selling to, we know what we're selling them. Now what we also want to step into is how are we selling to these people? Are we doing, outreach? Are we doing ads, right? These are some of the simple ones. Are we doing organic, right? These are just a few of the core ones here. So now this is where the scaling stuff gets really, really interesting. When you have all of this in check, your odds of getting referrals skyrockets, and then your ROIs from either your time or your money in these things go way, way seriously up. Like it's unreal, right? You get so many referrals when things are working how they're supposed to, when you've set the fundamentals of your business up properly. So we'll actually move here into sales. But when you set the fundamentals up, like the rest of it is easy. And instead of getting a 5 times return on your ad spend, you're able to get a 25 times return on your ad spend because you've done this stuff right. And now scaling is a joke. And some people, you don't even need to turn ads on. You just need 1 or 2 or 3 clients and you can scale to 10, 20, 30, 50, 100K a month plus. Really, depending on the model that you have. So then when we're going into the sales side of things, marketing and sales, again, it's how are we selling to these people? Is it outreach? Is it ads? Is it organic? This will depend on how many people in your market. This will depend on where they are. You always want to be doing outreach where they already are, or running ads where they already are, or posting organic content, again, where they already are. So these are just a few things to keep in mind. But from here, all that you have to do really is build a working sales system at small scale. So this is where things are really interesting. Sure, at a small scale, whatever. Here's where things are really interesting. What a lot of people will do, I was guilty of this, major major mistake that I made early on. Major mistake that I made. What I did is before I ever hit 10K per month, I was doing the things that someone at 10K per month would need to do to get to 50K per month. So what I was doing was I was hiring VAs and prepping for scale, basically. But I couldn't scale because my sales system wasn't polished or scalable. So what we need to do, right? This stuff is all cool and this is good and it's extremely important. These are the foundational building blocks that will allow you to scale like crazy. And, you know, easier said than done, obviously. Like the last thing I'm here to do is preach to you guys, get rich quick and all this crap. It's just not how it works, man. Like it took me 2 years to hit 5 grand a month going on my own and like testing and everything. And like, it was, yeah. So, I'm not a get rich overnight kind of guy. But we need to make sure that we have a reliable outreach method, for example, that produces us positive replies or leads within KPI and is a scalable process. That's step one, right? So your outreach or lead gen. Then once we have that, we need to build the appointment setting system. So meaning the call itself. So we need to be able to reliably, within KPI, convert these leads into appointments. And you'll want to track this and know your stats. And then obviously, right, we need to optimize the sales call itself as well so that we're able to reliably close these people within KPI, and the target for that is 20%. So if you're not getting a positive reply rate, let's pretend with cold email, between 2 and 10%, and you're not reliably setting appointments and you're not reliably closing appointments, then you don't have a sales process that you can scale. And if you don't have a sales process that you can scale and you did all this stuff right, then you'll scale anyway, because you'll get tons of referrals. But the thing is, a lot of people, it's still, you want to have a sales process, right? Because then you can just scale further, faster, etc. But the key thing here is that we need to build this system at a small scale. If your sales system, if anything that you have, if it doesn't work at small scale, it's not going to work at a large scale or high scale. It just won't. So this is why we need to get this stuff right first. And this right here is what everybody neglects. They don't sit there and iterate on their appointment setting script. They don't sit there and iterate on their outreach messages. They don't sit there and take sales calls and work on their sales call. The only way is through. The only thing that you can do is tackle the work and get it done. It's build this system. Once this system is working, odds are you're doing 5 to 10 grand a month. Just because the system's working, and you might even be doing like 20. And for some people, it's way more depending on how much you're charging. But once you have one of these systems that's working, it's over. Because now all you need to do is systematize or productize. And you don't even need to do this out the gate. You can kind of do this as you go. But if you haven't already productized your service, then you can do that once this is built at your 5, your 10, your 20K per month. Then from here, it's like all we have to do is double. Oh, let's just do double the lead gen. Let's send double the cold emails. Let's double the ad budget. Or we can triple, quadruple. Ideally, you won't want to be way too aggressive and all that stuff because it's easy to underestimate the amount of work that comes out on the other end of, scaling the amount of calls. You get way more of everything. And yeah, it's a very there's this butterfly effect to scaling basically. But yeah, scaling itself is so easy, man. It's so easy. You just double the outreach messages, you double the ads. This is the hard part right here. And this is the harder part right here, really. If you can master this, holy, it's over. It's over if you can master this right here. Same with this. Like a lot of people here, a lot of you guys just want to get to 10, 20, 30, 50K a month. This on its own will get you to 10, 20, 30, 50K a month, even if like half of this is all like out of whack, right? So even if we just say double, then you can double again later on after you let the system run for a couple months. So I talk about this stuff in a lot more detail in the private scaling group I made for agency owners. If you want, it's really totally up to you. I don't care. You can click the link in the description, book a call with me if you want to talk about that and talk about joining. But yeah, that's scale. Again, scaling is easy. Building this stuff is the hard part. This is what you need to really focus on to get those quick wins and get those crazy results that you're like, how did he scale so fast? It's like, because he did this. This is like 90% of all the results you see online. So yeah, go to my channel, watch my other stuff. Otherwise, click whatever is popping up on screen for you here, and I'll see you there.